Hello everyone, here is Fix Team. I'm Anthony. I'm very happy to meet you here. Today we are showing you the online class. Okay, come on to the class.
Okay, come back to the class. This is the class 12, and this class we will talking about the NFC, how it is work, and its theory. And the NFC problem will case what kinds of the problem, and how to fix it. Now, going to the class. And today also have 3 parts talking to you guys. The first is the principle of the NFC, and the NFC how to test and how to repair the NFC problem. And number 3 is the case string to you guys, let you guys understand more. Before we talking about the NFC, the theory, we also need to know the main function of the NFC. Generally, the NFC is used for the Apple Pay this function. But after iOS 13 system, the Apple has opened more NFC functions. And his working condition also have 2. One is power, and the second is signal. The NFC have 4 power, and the signal have communicate with CPU and communicate with PMU, and number 3 is communicate with baseband power IC, and number 4 is communicate with SIM card. First, we see the C7 pin of the U5301, the NFC sensor. The C7 pin is the PPVCC mean the power sent to the NFC sensor. And continue go down, we see the G2 this pin. This pin is the U5302, the RF NFC power IC. This IC send the 5.0 voltage to the NFC sensor. This power have a little special because this power original is sent from the PPVCC mean. But the PPVCC mean this level the power only 3.8 voltage. But here need the 5.0 voltage. So here actually is a booster system. And as you can see, the power sent to the U5302, the RF NFC sensor, here have an arrow. This arrow is the arrow 5303. This arrow is a booster inductor. And actually the NFC power IC, the U5302, this IC is a booster IC. So here have a booster system and let the 3.8 voltage exchange into the 5.0 voltage and send to the NFC sensor. Because here is a booster system, so if here have some problem, this inductor L5303, this booster inductor have some problem, we only can change the same inductor because this inductor is a booster inductor. And continue go down, we see the D5 this pin. This pin is the NFC IC sent to the NFC power IC, the in power in signal, driver signal. When this U5302, the NFC power IC get this signal, and he will send the 5.0 voltage to the NFC. Okay, now we see the next Y9. We see the D3 this pin of the NFC. We see this pin is the U2000, the PMU, send the PP 1.8 voltage to the NFC. Okay, now we see the next red line. We see the B5 this pin of the NFC. This pin the line is the baseband power IC, send the 1.8 voltage to the NFC. Okay, this is all the power supply for the NFC. Now we see the signal part of the NFC. Now we see the E1 this pin of the NFC. This line is the PMU to NFC, the in power signal, driver signal. And then we see the D1 pin of the NFC. This line is the NFC to PMU, the host wake up signal. And then we see the A3 pin of the NFC. This line is the baseband power IC to the NFC sensor, the clock signal. And go down, we see the A2 this pin. A2 this pin is the NFC sensor to the baseband power IC, the clock request signal. And then we see the A4 this pin of the NFC. This is the SIM card to the NFC, the verifying signal. Okay, now we see the right of the NFC. We see the B2 this pin. The pin B2 of NFC is the CPU to NFC the DWLD request signal. And go down, we see the E5. E5, this pin of NFC is the CPU to NFC the wake up signal. And go down, we see the C1, B1, D2, and A1. These 4 9 all is the CPU and the NFC the UART data exchange signal. Now we see the ways of all the signal 9 of the NFC. Those 9 all only connect to the resistor and capacitor. And those resistor and capacitor normally will not be damaged. But if the phone is water damaged, and in case the resistor or the capacitor have some problem, we need to change a new one. Do not make a jumper. If those capacitor or the resistor have some problem, we only can change a new one of same type. Okay, this is the theory of the NFC. And then we're going to talking about if the NFC have some problem, how to test and repair it. Okay, now we're talking about the NFC damage. Due to the app restrictions, the iPhone NFC functions is generally only used for the Apple Pay, and it is rarely used in China. Generally, even the NFC is damaged, few people will note it in China. And even the Chinese people, they know it, have some problem, few people want to pay for it. But before iOS 12, the system, the NFC damage will case the phone fail when flashing or upgrading the system. When the iPhone, the progressive bar take to 18%, the items will promote the error code is error 15.5. And the NFC problem after the iOS 12 system, the NFC have some problem. He also can pass the flash, but after the flash cannot be activative. The NFC, this IC is encryption. If it is damaged, we can change a new one. But after that, the NFC, this function cannot work. Okay, now we're talking about the NFC cannot be entered, cannot be recorded. This reason why the NFC cannot be entered is that the wire plug is failed. Generally, the small antenna which is connect the back housing of the motherboard is have some problem. Okay, now we show you guys some case to let you more understand it. This is the iPhone 8 Plus. The phone is stuck after enter the password. Maybe you guys have been meet this problem. The mobile phone input the password and stuck, generally case the NFC problem. The solution is take out the motherboard and remove the shell of the CPU, and then check the motherboard under the microscope. After our testing, we have been found out the resistor, the R7502. This resistor have been burned. And according to the certificate, we can find out this resistor is connected 9, which is a cell boost circuit of the NFC. This resistor is damaged, will case the NFC power supply is abnormal and it will not working normally. And this resistor is a protection resistor. If it has some damage, we can directly make a shock jumper of the 2 pin of the resistor, the pan. After we make a jumper in that 2 pin of the resistor, we install and test the phone again. This problem has been finished. Okay, this is the next case. The iPhone 8 cannot be activated after flash. Generally, there are 3 reasons why the mobile phone cannot be activated. The first is the baseband is failed, and the second is the data of the Wi-Fi BT core of the NAND is not matched. And the number 3 is the NFC have some problem. On the welcome screen, click the exclamation mark icon in the lower right corner of the screen to reveal the mobile phone information. After detecting this mobile phone, the IMEI, this number is normally, is determined that the baseband is normal. So we take out the motherboard and easily to see the motherboard. We found that this motherboard is so beautiful and the NAND also have not removed before. so it's not the NAND problem. So we judge that this problem is caused by the NFC. We correctly remove the NFC, this IC, and change a new one. Install and test the phone again. This problem is finished. This is the iPhone 8. Apple upgrade the system cannot be activated. Before the next case, we have been know that there are 3 reasons of the phone cannot be activated. First is the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth address number of the NAND is not match the phone. And the second is the baseband problem, and the number 3 is the NFC problem. So the first step of the solution also same. We check the IME number is normally or not. This phone, the IME number is normal. It shows that the baseband is normal. So we take out the motherboard and easily to check the motherboard. This motherboard also very beautiful, and the NAND also have not been repaired. So it's not the NAND problem. It shows that NFC have some problem. So we need to check the working condition of the NFC. So first we need to check the power of the NFC. We check the 5.0 voltage power supply of the NFC, and the voltage become to 0. It means that this line is have problem. And in the theory class we have been talking about, this is the NFC 5.0 voltage power supply. This level of power is come from the boost system, the NFC power IC. It's determined that this power IC is damaged. So we remove the NFC power IC and change a new one and test this 5.0 voltage again. And the millimeter display a voltage of 5.0 voltage. It's determined that this power supply for the NFC is normal. So we refresh and test. This problem is finished. Okay, this is the iPhone X. Heavy failed and unable to activate after flashing. And when we meet those cases, the same step, even all the model. And the reason how will case the phone cannot be activated, now you will know that. Just the 3 reasons. After one by one to check the place maybe will case, and then we focus on the NFC because the NAND is beautiful and this phone also have the IMEI number. So we narrowing the iPhone X and prepare to repair the NFC circuit. But after we wiring the motherboard, we find that the upper motherboard connection port, the S116.6 and the S117.1, these 2 ports is missing. So we need to find out the certificate to see these 2 ports is useful or useless. And according to the certificate, we can find out these 2 pins. One is the circuit is the UART signal to the CPU, and the second is the PMU to NFC, the in-power signal. So this is the reason case the NFC cannot working normally, and case the phone after flashing cannot be activated. So we make a jumper in these 2 points. After that, we install back the motherboard and test again. We need to refresh the phone. After that, the phone can be activated. So this problem is finished. Okay, this is the next case. This is iPhone X stuck after entering the password. And before the case, we have been talking about this. The phone stuck, also normally cased by the NFC circuit, have some problem. So this case, not only that model, in iPhone X also same, every model same. So we just need to focus on the NFC circuit. After we wiring the motherboard and find out the pin S117.1, this pin have been missing. So this problem also cased by this port missing. And before the case, we have been know that the S117.1, this pin is PMU to NFC, the in-power signal, the driver signal. So this is start signal from the power IC to the NFC. If this signal have some problem, will case the NFC cannot be working normally. So case the phone stuck. So we just need to make a jumper in this port and solder it, let this port be perfect, and then install and test the phone again. This problem also finished. So after those cases, you will know that why the phone will be stuck, why the phone cannot be activated, and the reason and the solution we also give you guys. You guys need to remember it, and when you meet this problem, you can follow the step by one step to fix it. Okay, now we're talking about the 13 discuss This class we mainly talking about the Face ID. Talking about the Face ID, the principle, and how is it working. In this class, you guys need to pay more attention because the Face ID is hard to repair. Just very low percent can repair it. So we need to find out how we case those problems and how to repair it, and can repair or cannot repair. And this class also have 3 parts. The first is the Face ID, the theory, and the second is how to test and repair. And number 3 is showing you some case, let you guys more understand. When we're talking about the Face ID, so first we also need to know about the theory of the Face ID. Now you can see the paper on the website. The Face ID is on the upper of the phone, having the IR camera, the full illuminator, and the proximity sensor, and the ambient sensor, speaker, microphone, and front camera, and dot projector. And as you can see, there are 4 web components: the IR camera, the full illuminator, the proximity sensor, and the dot projector. These 4 kinds of the component all is encryption. Cannot change it, only one. First, when the Face ID is open for the user face information recording, the front camera, the FaceTime camera start to work so that the user can confirm that the area where the face is located. And then the proximity sensor starts to work to check the distance between the phone and your face, and to detect the user face area in the Face ID screen area. And number 3 is the ambient sensor and the full illuminator start to work at the same time. The full illuminator is mainly used to feed the light on the face. The light is sending is the infrared and cannot use the eyes to see it. The full illuminator will automatically adjust the field light intensity according to the intensity of the ambient light around the phone. And number 4, the dot projector is start to work. The dot projector put more than 13,000 infrared detect points on the face to build a 3D physical information. And number 5 is the IR camera connect the 3D physical data, send this data to the CPU, and has recorded the Face ID information. This is the Face ID, how it works to record the face information. The Face ID system is on the upper of the iPhone, and this Face ID system, the Apple company called this system is the True Deep Camera System. And this system is including the proximity sensor, the ambient light sensor, the full illuminator, and dot projector, and the infrared camera. Now we one by one to talking about those things. The proximity sensor, the ambient light sensor, the full illuminator, their working condition also have 2. One is power, and the second is signal. Now we see the connector, the 10 pin and the 12 pin. These 2 pin, the line also is the CPU send out the I2C control bus to control those 3 sensors. And the pin 14, this line is the ambient light sensor to CPU the interrupt signal. And the pin 8, this line is the proximity sensor to CPU the interrupt signal. And we see the pin 6. This pin is the full emitter to the U3700, the camera power IC, and the U4400, the infrared power IC, the status ready signal. Okay, now we talking about the dot projector. And the dot projector, the working connection also have 2. One is power, and the second is signal. Now we see this connector, the pin 10. This pin, the 9 is the U3700, the camera power IC, send the 3.3 voltage to the dot projector. And we see the 15, 16, and 11, and 12, and 17, and 18. Those lines all is sent by the U4400, the infrared power IC. And then we see the pin 1 and pin 3 also from the U4400, the infrared power IC, send these 2 lines power. And then we see the pin 4 and pin 9. Pin 4 and pin 9, these 2 lines all is the I2C control signal from CPU. And then we see the pin 6. Pin 6, this line is the CPU to the dot projector that detect signal. And then we see the pin 6. Pin 6 is the dot projector, the study scene signal. Okay, now we see the infrared camera. The infrared camera also have two working conditions. One is power and the second is signal. And then as you can see, we see the red line. As you can see, the 19 and 20, these two pin is the PP 1.1 voltage power. This power is from the U3700, the camera power IC. And we can see the pin 6. Pin 6 also is power. This pin is the PP 2.85 voltage power. This power is also from the U3700, the camera power IC. And then we see the pin 10. Pin 10, this is the PP 1.8 voltage power. This power is from the U2700 PMU, the main power IC. Okay, now we're talking about the signal part. Now we see the connector, the left side. We see the pin 3, pin 5, pin 9, pin 11, pin 15, and pin 17. Those is free through the infrared camera to CPU, the MIPI video communication signal. Now we see the right side of this connector. We see the pin 2. Pin 2 is the infrared camera power IC to CPU and to the infrared camera the study scene signal. And we see the pin 4. This pin is special. This pin just connected to connector. And this pin is the front camera to the infrared camera the scene signal. And we see the pin 12. This pin is the CPU to the infrared camera shutdown turn off signal. And the pin 13 and pin 16, these two line all is the CPU I2C control signal. And the 18, this line is the clock signal. Okay, this is infrared camera, the theory. And now we're talking about the proximity sensor. Proximity sensor, if it have some damage, how should we test and repair? The first, we need to confirm that the proximity sensor, this sensor is working normally or not. First, we need to make a calling. When our calling, the phone close our face. If the LCD turn off, it means that this proximity sensor is working normally. If cannot turn off, it means that the proximity sensor working abnormal. If the proximity sensor cannot working normally, first we need to test the connector, the resistance, check whether have some line is failed. And number 3 is test the power. Test the power is normally or not. And number 4, we need to change the handset intergraph cable, the receiver intergraph cable. Okay, now we're talking about the full emitter, how to test and repair. The full emitter and the proximity sensor are integrated together. If the full emitter is not working normally, we need to repair the proximity sensor first. Generally, the proximity sensor is normally and the full emitter also is normal. If the proximity sensor is normal and the full emitter is abnormal, first we need to test the resistance of the connector to check whether have some line is failed. After that, we need to check whether the power supply of the connector voltage line is normally. And number 4, we need to try changing the front handset cable, the front receiving cable. Okay, this is the ambient sensor, how to test and repair. The ambient sensor is an encryption component and it can be changed if it damaged. However, after that, the automatic brightness adjustment function of the mobile phone will be lost after the change. And the original color, the true tone display function of the mobile phone will be lost. Now we see the dot projector, how to test and repair. First, we need to use our eyes to see the dot projector, this IC is cracked or damaged or not. And then we need to measure the resistance of the connector, check whether the line is broken or short. Number 3, we need to test whether the power supply is normally. Because the dot projector also is an encryption component, cannot be changed only. Dot projector, this IC is broken or damaged, cannot be fixed because the IC is encryption, it cannot be changed. Okay, now we see the infrared camera, how to test and repair. First, we need to test the front camera, the portrait mode, whether the background is blurred. And then we need to test the resistance of this connector and check whether the line is broken or short. And number 3, we need to test whether the power supply is normal. And this IR camera, the infrared camera, this IC, this component also is encryption. It cannot be changed only. No. If the infrared camera is damaged, this IC is broken, the camera is broken, that cannot fixed, cannot repair. Normally the Face ID, the common problem have 3 kinds. First is enter the system promote the Face ID is not available. And the second is can be opened, but promotes the Face ID is not available. And the number 3 is can be opened, but stays in the recording interface, holding to move higher and lower. Okay, now we first talking about the first problem. When you power on the phone, start the phone, the error promote. First, we need to determine that whether the 3 major components. Which 3 major? First is infrared camera, the IR camera, and the second is the dot projector, and number 3 is the full illuminator. We need to test these 3 components is matched the original phone or not, because these 3 components is inclusion with the CPU. If these 3 components or one of these 3 components is not matched the phone, you don't need to repair it because these 3 components all is encryption with CPU. And number 2 is check these 3 components they are on the cable. If the cable is broken, maybe we can move these 3 components to the new cable to try to repair it. And number 3 is check the working condition of these 3 components. First is power and 2 is signal. And number 4 is these 3 components, the IR camera, dot projector, the full illuminator have some problem. Their cell is damaged. So case this problem, power on and show you the error cannot be used. And in this case, if these 3 components or one of these 3 components are damaged, cannot repair because these 3 components all is encryption, cannot change. It's like that if the CPU is cracked, is broken, we also cannot repair. Okay, now talking about the second problem. The phone can open the Face ID interface but promote the error. First, standard 5 seconds later promote the error. We need to flash the phone. We need to connect the items and flash. And the number 2 is we can open the Face ID interface, but after we open it, the error will promote immediately. We need to check if the dot projector or the IR camera are cracked or not. If these 2 IC or one of these 2 IC are cracked, we don't need to repair it because these 2 components all is encryption. If it is cracked, means that this IC broken, this component is damaged, we cannot fix it. Now we're talking about the problem. The phone promote you moving up and down. First, we need to make a recording to test if the screen is off or not. These things we need to confirm that the proximity sensor is good or not. And after that, we need to test if the screen, the brightness can be adjusted automatically. This thing is in order to test the ambient sensor is good or not. If this function is cannot work, the first we need to replace with a new cable. We need to moving the full emitter and repair it finish. If this function is good, we need to test the portrait model is blurred or not. If this function cannot be blurred, we need to check the dot projector for the red light. No red light, don't need to repair it because the dot projector is damaged. And we have been talking about the dot projector is encryption, so we cannot change it. The dot projector have the red line, we need to test the IR camera, the infrared camera. If the portrait dysfunction is half blurred, it means that we need to replace a new cable. And remember moving the full emitter because the full emitter also encryption. After you do this step, first the repair is finished. Cannot finish, do the next step. We need to adjust the X and Y axis of the dot projector and the infrared lens, infrared camera. These 2 components need to be same level. Okay, this problem is finished. And you need to remember, if the dot projector and full emitter and infrared camera. One of these three things are damaged, you don't need to repair it because these three things, these three components, all is in question with CPU. If this component damage, is like the CPU damage. Those component crack is like the CPU crack. Cannot repair it. Don't take so long time to repair it. Okay, now we showing you some case to let you guys understand more. This is iPhone X. When you record the Face ID, always know the circle. When we enter the interface of the Face ID, the interface stay at the keep phrase in the viewfinder interface. And no circle come out when enter the face information. First, when we see this case, we need to confirm that the inclusion components is good or not. We can use our eyes under the microscope to see it, to check it. If no crack, we can try to do the next step to try to repair it. First, we need to test the resistance of the motherboard J4515 and J4500 and the J4600 the connectors. When we testing the J4600, the handset cable connector, the receiving cable connector, find out the resistance value of the 16, 15, 17, 18 are 0. It means that those lines are short. And as we can see in the certificate, we can find out these 4 lines are the power supply line for the full inverter. This line of the power is sent from the K1 pin of the U4400, the IR camera power IC, and send it to the J4600 connector. Any components damaged in this line also will cause a short circuit in the power supply. So no power supply, the full inverter will not working normally. After our testing, we found out the capacitor C4616. This capacitor is damaged. This capacitor is burned. And this capacitor is a failure capacitor, and we can remove it if it damaged. After remove the capacitor C4616, we install and test the phone again. This problem is finished. If you have enough time, you can take out your mobile phone, take out the iPhone X or XS Max or another model. You can use something, cover one of the Face ID components to have a test. You will know more about it. In this photo, we just easily to talking about it. You also can check it one more time. Okay, this is next case. This is the iPhone X. After change the LCD case, the Face ID unavailable. And in this picture, you can see that the full inverter projects the IR light to illuminate the face, helping the Face ID system to promote physical circuit recognition even in the black place. And we can see that the ambient sensor is the brightness of the screen is automatically adjusted to according the intensity of the ambient light around the phone, or the intensity of the infrared light emitted by the full emitter is adjusted according to the intensity of the ambient light around the phone. Okay, we come back to the case. Because in iPhone X, the handset cable is very easy to broken. If you do not pay attention when you remove it, it may break the cable, make the Face ID unusable. So we just replace a new earphone cable. When we replace the cable, we need to move the Face ID inclusion full emitter to the new cable. Otherwise, the Face ID will not available. Do not use the hot air gun to remove the full emitter. It is best to use the heating station to do this. Okay, this is next case. This is iPhone X. After changing the receiver cable, case no hollow color, no true tone. Before the iOS 12.2 system, the original screen EEPROM information needs to be read when the screen is changed. And this information is written into the new screen EEPROM. Otherwise, the phone will lose the original color function after changing the screen. After the iOS 12.2 system, in addition to providing that the iPhone information is consistent with the original machine, the CPU will also verify that amber light sensor on the handset cable is consistent with the original machine. Otherwise, the original color function will be lost. When other people replace the handset cable, they only carry the full inverter and do not carry the amber light sensor, showcase this function lost. And according to the certificate, we can find that the 10-pin and 12-pin of the J4600, the handset connector is I2C bus. The CPU plus the I2C grow bus to controlling the dot projector, amber light sensor, and the full inverter. We remove the original amber light sensor to the new cable. After that, we install the phone and test it. This function also finished. Okay, this is the next case. This is iPhone X, the Face ID failed. Remainder stay in the viewfinder. When we use the Face ID to enter the information, the dot projector first works to detect the distance between the face of the mobile phone to promote the user to maintain an appropriate distance for the phone. When the dot projector cannot detect the face, it will promote keep the face on the viewfinder. The face is out of the viewfinder. According to this failed displays, it shows that the dot projector is failed. So the first, we also do the same because the dot projector is an inclusion component. So we need to use our eyes to under the microscope to check it. And this IC have been not cracked, so we can do the next step. We need to test the resistance of the J4600, the handset cable connector. When disconnected, the 6 pin have been tested, it found that the resistance value is OL, which normally should be 516.7. It shows that this line is open line, is disconnection. So we found out the certificate. According to the certificate, we can find out this pin, the circuit is the boost signal from the dot projector to the infrared camera power IC. This signal is sent by the pin 6 of this connector and sent to the U4400 CA pin through the protection inductor FL 4615. After testing, we found out this inductor FL have been damaged. So this line is open line is disconnection. This inductor is a protection inductor. If it damaged, we can make a shock jumper correctly. After we make a shock jumper of that 2 pin of the inductor, we test the resistance again. The millimeter display 715.2. It means that this line is back to normal. So we install and test the phone again. This problem has been finished. So this is the Face ID. And the Face ID is hard to repair because all the important components, for example, the full emitter, the dot projector, the infrared camera, those things is inclusion. If it damaged, we cannot repair. But actually, when we get the phone is water damage, when we get the phone is fell down, it's very easy to case those components is damaged, cracked. If this IC is damaged or cracked, this component is cracked, we cannot fix it. This is the main reasons why the Face ID is hard to repair.
Hello everyone, this is all the information in this video class. I suggest you guys see this video one more time and make more notes, and when you study hard you will get more. Okay, we can come back to our Facebook group, and if you in this class have some question, you can ask and we will give you the answer. Also, you have some problem when you meeting in the repair, you also ask. We also can give you the answer for free. Okay, thank you so much.